Good day, everyone, and welcome to Different Stages Radio. I'm your host, JJ, broadcasting in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And my guest today needs no introduction. You know him from his beginnings in Trapeze, Deep Purple, and Black Sabbath, to this millennium with California Breed, The Dead Daisies, and Black Country Communion.
Mm-hmm.
He also has a very stellar solo career, and he's about to release his first solo album in 9 years, Chosen, on September the 5th on Frontiers Music. Please
Mm-hmm.
welcome my guest, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, the voice of rock, Glenn Hughes. How are
Well, thank you. Thank you, my friend. That's a nice introduction.
I appreciate that. How are you doing? How are things in your world?
I'm doing great. I'm just relaxing at home before I go on the next leg of my tour.
Yeah, it looks like you're going to have an extremely busy fall. It looks like your September, October, November are pretty booked already.
Yeah.
But I'm
Looking
pretty
for.
looking forward to it, I'm sure. But I'm super jacked about Chosen coming out on September the 5th. I
Thank
was
you.
huge on Resonate. Just think that is a phenomenal album. That was
Thank you.
album of 2016. And I wanted to see how the response has been so far towards Chosen and Voice in My Head.
Well, I think it's been very good, really. I mean, in general, people ask me, how come you're doing this kind of an album? And if you know, I know you know about my music. It all depends how I'm feeling at that moment. Sometimes it could be heavier, sometimes it could be funkier, sometimes it could be more soulful, sometimes it could be a little different. But it's the way I'm feeling when I start making an album, and Chosen is the way I felt when I made the album, and hence that's the kind of style I stayed in.
Now, was Chosen something that you've that's been slowly been percolating since Resonate, and something that you've been working on slowly between other projects and tours, or is this something
Well,
that's kind of come together in the past year or so?
lyrically, that song has been boiling within me for a while because I've been living this lifestyle, a spiritual progression for 15 years, studying Buddhism. And this Chosen in itself is an album of acceptance and staying in the moment. So this album is all about that for me as I trudge this road of happy destiny.
That's wonderful. Now, as I've been diving more into the record, which I think once again is just as strong already as Resonate and many of your other solo albums, from the opening cut, of course, Voice in My Head, which we've slightly discussed, but leading into My Alibi, great groove on that track, and then the title track. But digging later into the record, I'd like to ask you about In the Golden. That that
Yeah.
that was just phenomenal.
Thank you. All these songs were written early last year, between February and May, and each song is its own entity. Really, they're like mini movies to me. That's slightly heavier than most songs, and it's a riff orientated song with a very very melodic chorus. Which I think is the blueprint of Glenn Hughes, very soulful and very rock and very groovy.
Definitely, indeed. And then back later in the record too, with like "Come and Go." I love just the flavor that adds to the album. Just some good color. Can you talk a bit about that track?
I wanted to have one song on the album that was a slower song. I normally have two.
Mhm.
But I chose that particular song. It's very dramatic, and it's all about people coming and going, and some people stay, some people leave. But in general, we're all here for a reason. I believe that that particular song is important to me because it deals with a lot of things that happened to me in the past, and as I move forward, hopefully things will remain calm.
That's the key, remaining calm, cool, and collected. And then the album wraps up with Into the Fade. Once
Mhm.
again, just brilliant. Like the flow of this album is so good. And I found that when that track wraps up, I just want to start the record again.
Thank you. It's a song that it's the last song I wrote, and I had a feeling it would be the closing track. And that song in general is really really about acceptance, about we can't change anything in our life, saying it's good for the soul. Well, it's all about, this album is very soul orientated for me. I call it an album of soul food. I love that particular song, by the way.
That's a great track, and the overall mix of the album too. just I find as a whole too, not just great songs, but just great sound. Uh,
Thank you.
yeah, and can you speak a bit about the band? Because Søren, who you've worked with, guitarist Søren Andersen on this album,
Yeah.
he was also involved with you throughout the years, and also was, I'm sure, a big part of Resonate. And I was
Yes.
curious how much he has as far as input and involvement in the composition of these songs.
Well, we work. I write all the music and lyrics, and we work in his studio, so he knows the control room very well. And he's a really good guy for me to work with. He's a really good, kind human being, and he understands my music pretty well. So I always choose Søren because he's such a splendid guy. And like I say, I bring all these songs in, and we do one or two tracks every day, and the team rolls right along, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, no, and I was also wanting to comment about Ash Sheehan's playing the drummer on the record, just
Yeah.
the space and the dynamics and not overplaying, but complementing the song. Have you known him long?
He's been in my band for 8 years.
Yeah.
He's a Romanian traveling gypsy.
Mhm.
So Ash lives the life really as a gypsy. It's not really about him being a gypsy. He's just a really splendid human being, really down to earth, solid human being. He came into my band. I needed a drummer real quick, and he reads music. So he came in and learned all the parts, and he wrote all the charts out. And he's been a great member of my band, and he's a brother. Incredible.
Important piece, important piece of the puzzle.
He
Now,
really is.
is this going to be the band that will be on the upcoming tour, or do you have some other
Yeah,
joining you?
it's going to be a trio. It's me and Sarah and Ash.
Mhm.
I chose trio because I want to go back to the organicness of my work in trapeze and Hughes thrall. So it's more tip of the hat to that kind of work. Very organic, um, drums, bass, and guitar, vocals. That's all I need, really.
And can we expect a good chunk of this record on the upcoming run, or is it always a challenge to try to balance all
Well,
the
I'm
message
planning on
you have?
I'm planning on doing 3 songs from the album. So again, new music is vital to me. So for me, playing new music, it re-energizes me. So I would imagine there will be 3 cuts on the album played live.
Excellent. And that leads kind of in my my next question, which was, you know, I was itching since the release of Resonate for another solo album, enjoyed the albums and projects that you put out during that period.
Yeah.
But yeah, wondering where that drive comes from for you to keep creating and how important it is for you to keep creating.
Well, for me, I write every day. I don't necessarily write to publish something. I write for my own self good, really. It really centers me and calms me down. There's guitars everywhere in my home, and I have a studio upstairs. And whether it's just a chord or a riff or just one line of a song, I'm always writing. I've got so many songs on my voice notes. It's insane.
Always good to have some good ideas to bounce around and maybe revisit, and then something that may not have seemed like that could turn into a song at some point suddenly does.
Always, yeah.
Always nice. Um, Now, with this show and myself originating in Vancouver, British Columbia, you have at least one connection to Vancouver, British Columbia that I wanted to bring up and wanted to ask questions about was your involvement with the Mötley Crüe album back in
Right.
of doing some contributing some vocals to Misunderstood.
Yeah.
And just curious how that all came to be, and was that part actually recorded in Vancouver or done elsewhere?
No, it was done in LA with Bob Rock and Nikki Six called me up. I've known Nikki from the beginning, and he asked me if I'd like to come down and help out with the song. That the new singer John is also a good friend of mine. They were just laying it down, and I went down there. It was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it.
Well, was it just a case of timing, or was it like were you just the right place, right time?
It was the right place at the right time. I was home in LA, and again, he called me up and asked me if I'd like to come down and first of all listen to if I'd like to be involved. I went down there, and it was just really simple, and it really enjoyed it.
Because yeah, it's a great track, but I always find that I can't not hear you just busting through all the time. So I will sort of maybe use a bit of an analogy that it's a great piece
Yeah.
of cake, but that icing that you provide is just, I couldn't imagine that cake without that icing. It's
Well,
just
thank you. I mean,
yeah,
again, I don't mix these albums, so
yeah.
it's somebody else's work. But I went down there because I know the guys in Motley very well, and it was a good chance to see Bob again. So it was good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, back to Chosen for a moment. So you have the fall tours pretty much booked. You start in the Netherlands on September the 2nd.
Yeah.
Bunch of European dates through October, and then you head to South America in November. Any plans of hitting US or Canada in 2026?
You know, number one, I want to get back to Canada. I played there 5 years ago. The only show I did. I can't understand. I'm kind of chuckling when I say this to you. I can't understand why I'm not playing up there. So
Mhm.
anybody up there wants to see me, please write to someone and get me up there. I love Canada and I'm dying to get up there. I will play an American tour, which is unconfirmed at the moment, in April. So maybe I can talk to my agent to see if I can get up north.
Duck in for a show or two, perhaps, and maybe
I
other.
would love to. I would love to come back there. I love it up there. I love the Canadians, and I've got great memories of that show.
Yeah, no, it'd be nice to have you two on the West Coast because often it seems it's Toronto and Montreal are considered, Canada, and then us people on the West Coast, we get a bit offended. It's like, hey, come see us too.
And you know something, I understand that, and I'm trying my best to make that happen for you all. I love Canada and Canadians. How about that?
How about that? And then of course we all know that the booking and all of that is beyond your control, but just wanting it to be in your ear that you do have fans here and people would very much love to see you and of course the band. Uh, Now, I was wanting to ask about something that you threw out or released with some of your buddies just a little over a month ago, the Satch Vi.
Yeah.
Ask you about that, how the I Want to Play My Guitar song came together, and is there more work with you two on the horizon?
Well, Joe and Steve have been my friends for about 4 decades, and we've always often talked at lunch or something about doing something together. I got a call from Joe in January saying he'd like to do some work with me and me and Steve. And so I went to Steve's studio in February and we wrote and recorded that particular song at Steve's studio. I love Steve very much and I love his studio. It was a lot of fun.
Well, might we see more?
We're talking about it. I would imagine if as we plow along, something will happen. We had such a great time doing that song.
I guess yeah, it always depends on scheduling and so forth. And
It really does.
and does that lead into the status of Black Country Communion? Is that kind of on pause again? Uh,
Well, it's on pause right now because we did 10 shows in Europe in June,
mhm.
which were fantastic, and we actually were recording the whole tour, and we're going to have a live album
Oh, okay.
of that coming early next year, and apparently there's going to be some shows next summer.
In North America or just Europe?
I hope so. For sure in Europe at
Yeah,
festivals, but I'm planning on talking to Joe and everybody about America and Canada next year for sure.
nice. And will that live album also accompany with the DVD package or just audio?
It'll be audio.
Just audio? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And that also leads into might we ever see a second California Breed?
Oh, that might not happen simply because Andrew's so busy doing what he's doing. He's doing so well. I love that particular album and project. It just didn't work out. But again, it's a great project, and hopefully, you just never know these days what's going to happen.
Yeah, because that was just a brilliant, brilliant album. Just the way I think
Thank you.
the group of you came together, and once again, front to back, love the tone, love the sound, the conviction. It's just like this sounds
Thank
like something you guys did in a couple of days. Just has
Yeah.
that live, raw feel. It's just like man,
Yeah.
just cuts right through. So brilliant. So we
It
will
was great.
we will hope for a second California Breed at some point. Don't want to keep you too much longer, but I wanted to ask, and I have to ask. We are as we record this, it's officially been 1 week since the passing of Ozzy
Mm.
Osbourne. I'm sure it's blindsided you like it blindsided many of us, and
Yeah.
just curious where you were, how you found out, and how you're doing.
Well, for me, it's always difficult when you lose someone that's a very close friend. He was. I've known Ozzy since 1970, and we've been friends all these years. And look, we all knew he wasn't well, and it's been a week, but I tell you what, it's really hit me, and it's hit a lot of us. this way. We just can't seem to wrap our heads around it, you know. We knew how ill he was. And it's just, again, when you're so close to someone personally, um, it's always a matter of, wow. I mean, it's a big wow. It's like, it's really difficult to comprehend.
And it's going to, yeah, take all of us a long time to
Yeah,
process. But I also, I'm sure all the diehards know, but it's just another connection where obviously you both have the Sabbath connection, but it's just
yeah.
also interesting the Gary Moore connection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Gary, in my opinion, is the greatest guitar player I ever played with. And by the way, I played with everybody, you can imagine.
yeah,
But over the last few years, I've been recalling and remembering how amazing he was to work with. And he was a very close friend. I miss him, and I just miss his guitar playing, and I miss his sense of humor. Again, could be the greatest guitar player I've ever played with.
and that says a lot because you played with some brilliant people. Of course,
Yeah.
just yeah, the list is pretty endless. And that kind of leads into just maybe I'll just ask quickly about the raw talent of Tommy Bolin. Like was he just naturally gifted? Do you think was that just
What? Yes, when I met him, when he was auditioned that day, I met him. I walked over to him before he started playing, and I said, "If you don't get the gig, you're coming home with me." But he got the gig, and he came home with me, and he stayed for 3 months. And I knew him off stage. He was very quiet, very kind, soft-spoken guy from the Midwest. Um, he was a wonderful, wonderful young man. Very super talented in not just in rock, but in reggae and soul and Latin music, and he was very versatile. But I knew Tommy as the boy, as the young man. We were very close, and we shared a lot of the same love for everything. And genuinely, he's one of the greatest talents we've lost, and one of the greatest friends I've ever had in my life. And I think of him every day.
in the same way? I know you always speak highly of Cozy as well. I hate to bring up all these sad,
Yeah.
magnificent people that are no longer with us, but they need not be forgotten.
No, the list of people that are, uh, uh, I hate the word famous, but people that are of notoriety, there's other people that aren't notorious. But I say all these people we've lost are, you know, it's like a joy to remember the great times we had all together.
Yeah, so many great memories. And I hope to bring it back to good news is that I'm hoping to have many great memories listening to Chosen. Just
Yeah.
just so looking forward to having the physical product in my hand.
Oh, yeah.
And just before we go, I wanted to see, is there anything that maybe comes to mind, things that, maybe you made an appearance on, did a guest spot, or even some of your solo albums, for example, something that maybe is something you'd recommend somebody to maybe go back and revisit that's maybe been a bit overlooked over the years?
Well, for me, moving forward, I don't like to make too many plans going forward, but you may see me next year playing with orchestras, which I really do enjoy. So you're talking about what I would like people. I'd like people to see me again with the orchestra with the John Lord tribute at the Albert Hall in 2014, where it was just myself and a 70-piece orchestra and no electric guitars, and it was just my voice and the orchestra. This is something I want to explore as I maybe close out my career in the next couple of years. I want to be doing more work with orchestras. It's something my voice needs to, my voice in an orchestra seems to work really well. So I'm looking forward to that.
Always pushing yourself, always new adventures,
Yeah.
and keeping things fresh. Well, I appreciate your time very much, Glenn. And once again, so look forward to Chosen coming out on Frontiers Music
Yeah.
on September the 5th. Physical product is you can pre-order it now on
Thank you.
differentstagesradio.com. I'm sure as well you can get it through Frontiers Music directly. And by all means, please go see Glenn Hughes on tour
Oh, well, you're so kind.
this fall, and then South America in November.
Yeah.
We hope to see Glenn in the USA. And
I learned. JJ, I must say you're a very kind, studious young man. You look fantastic in that top there. I want to say thank you so much. I'm sorry I couldn't be on film this morning. I just got out of bed, but I want to say thank you so much for your loving, kind, supportive words, and thank you so much for your help. I really do appreciate you. And Canadians, I love you, and I'm hoping to get back with you at some point soon.
Glenn, you're so gracious, and you take care of yourself.
Will do.
This is Different Stages Radio.
Thank you. God bless you, my friend.